Hi, everyone. It's Emily Williams-Knight. I'm here tonight with Kelsey, and we thought you probably haven't seen both of us together in quite a while. And there's a lot going on, and a lot of you are emailing right now asking about all things around compliance with both the vaccine mandate as well as 80/20. So below this video, you're going to see all the details, and Kelsey's prepared something I think that's going to be great for all of you on the vaccine. But in the meantime, we thought we would just go through some high points. And so we are waiting, like you, for the Supreme Court to make a decision. And all things indicate to us and our partners at the National Restaurant Association that Thursday is the day. As a reminder, the Supreme Court will do one of two things. They will either reinstate the stay on this order, which means that we likely will only come back to you to say things are on hold and this is the process we see legally going forward. But right now, there is no enforcement taking place in February. Or they will choose not to do that. And remember, all of this went into effect on the 10th, which was yesterday. And so we will know on Thursday. Our best guess, and this is when being a member is so, I just think, so valuable, because we're working hand in hand with our partners at the National Association to get information out and also guidance. I think what you need to be thinking about, and I'm going to have Kelsey walk through the document she prepared for all of you and sort of what the, I guess, Kelsey, the best ideas are right now, is that you want to look like you're beginning to be prepared for this. While we do see that a potential stay on this, things not moving forward, we don't know. Only the Supreme Court knows. And so we want to make sure that you are compliant, and if not compliant today, that you're making those plans to do so. So Kelsey, do you want to walk them through the document that they can find below?
Absolutely. So Kelsey Erickson-Streufert, Chief Public Affairs Officer. Thanks everyone for listening today. There's Blue in the background doing a cameo. As Emily mentioned, there's kind of two ways this could go at the Supreme Court. Either way, it will be under litigation for a long time to come. And so at this point, our best advice, and of course we can't give legal advice, we're just association providing general guidance, but our best general guidance at this point is to start taking steps so you can at least show a good faith effort to comply. That's going to be one of the main things that OSHA is looking for right now, particularly with all of the uncertainty and the lack of testing and other kind of external factors that are outside of your control. So I think that's really the key, is start looking for ways you can make a good faith effort to comply. The document we're sharing below has really all of the big picture items that you're required to do under this ETS, the Emergency Temporary Standard. All of it technically went into effect yesterday, as Emily mentioned, except the biggest piece, which is the requirement that you start weekly testing your employees if they are unvaccinated. That piece doesn't kick in until February 9th. So the good news is you don't have to start firing employees. You don't have to start making those really tough decisions immediately, but you do need to start putting a plan together, a policy together, communicating with your employees. All of those details are in that document below. The last thing I'll say on this is we've cited in this document to the OSHA FAQs repeatedly. That is your best resource right now. I've got to give OSHA a little bit of credit. They provided really detailed FAQs with specific examples. So utilize that resource. If you have a question, that's a great place to start. And always reach out to us if we can provide additional information, answer any other questions. So Emily, I'll kick it back over to you.
Yeah, awesome. And I think another note is that there'll be a webinar if, for example, they choose not to reinstate the stay. There will be a webinar by the National Restaurant Association the following Wednesday or Thursday. So still before that final testing sort of compliance date in February by OSHA. So you will have more time to think through this. Also, National is getting a document together around some best practices on the actual policy. And so the blessing of sort of having very large organizations along with our independents is that we can take the best practices and come back to all of you with sample policies and guidelines that you may want to implement. And again, as guidance, certainly not as legal advice, but realize that there's a ton of work happening at both the state and national level if this thing does move forward, to make sure that you will all be okay. So let's move into the next event, which many of you I know missed because it was over the holiday when you were incredibly busy, but that's the 80/20 rule. And I've had some people reach out, and Kelsey's had conversations along with Joe and the rest of the team really about, okay, what do we do now? And so I want to have Kelsey just remind everybody where we are today, which is this is in effect, and what you should be doing and where to go for guidance to get more details. So Kelsey, back to you.
Absolutely. So as y'all will recall, this went into effect December 28th. This is another rule that we are fighting in court, but until the courts put a stop to it, it is technically in effect. And so we want to make sure you have the resources you need to come into compliance with the law. So really the key thing in these new rules is that there are now 3 categories of work, and you have to be very clear about if an employee who earns tips, what kind of work are they performing to ensure that you are allowed to pay them the tipped minimum wage instead of the full minimum wage. So 3 new categories. We have, quote, tip producing work, directly supporting work, and work that is not part of the tipped occupation. Those are now the 3 categories of work you need to be really thoughtful about. The good news is below you can read the actual definitions for each of these categories, and the Department of Labor actually put in a lot of examples. So for, if you're asking, well, does refilling salt and pepper shakers count as tip producing work or directly supporting work? That's the kind of example you can look up in the Department of Labor's rules. The tricky part about this is obviously it's very hard to keep track every moment in real time of what your employees are doing. That's exactly why we're challenging this rule. We know it's difficult, really unworkable, frankly, is our position. But right now it's in effect, so we need to do what we can as operators to stay in compliance. Again, read below for the definitions, the 3 categories. And stay tuned. In February, we're going to have a webinar with National. Assuming the courts don't step in before then to stop it, we'll have that webinar for a lot more practical tips and advice on how to comply with this one as well.
Excellent. And then I guess finally, because we don't want to take too much time, is Kelsey, do you want to talk about the sort of the webinar that we have coming up with an HR expert? I think just to give more, we want to give you as many tools as possible. And we know that all of these things are sort of coming at once at the time that you're also dealing with massive staffing shortages due to Omicron. So we don't want you to miss anything. Kelsey, do you want to give a little bit more details on that one?
Absolutely. So January 25th, it's a Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Central. Tune in for a webinar that I'm going to host with a great partner, Brian Mealy. He's the founder of our HR office. They provide a whole host of HR support services at a very affordable price, really specializing in the smaller independent restaurant space. So he's going to join me. We're going to talk about tips and tricks to really navigate these uncharted, uncertain times. And I'm excited to do it with an HR professional. I know you get sick of hearing the legalese from me and some of our other lawyer partners. So I think Brian's going to be a real asset to explain to y'all in just practical layman's terms what you need to be doing, what is within your control to protect yourselves as an operator, and really start 2022 on the right foot.
Excellent. And I think in closing, just a reminder that we are still in the mix on the RRF. We're working really hard. We know Texas alone has 12,000 of you that did not who applied that did not receive funds. It's a very big number. And now more than ever, we know that you need those funds. And so we're working really hard. There's a little bit of line of sight. We continue to share that. And we just won't stop until, we try to get this thing done. We know it'll be very meaningful. And then on the state front, I know Kelsey's been working really hard, and we believe sort of mid-spring is when we'll see those dollars, that $180 million program open. We had hoped for sooner. We are still pushing very hard to get it sooner. We know you need those funds now, but just politics and lots of ways these things work. It may be a little bit longer, but we'll keep you posted. I think, Kelsey, that's all I have. Anything left from you?
I think that's enough food for thought for one night.
Exactly. All right, everyone, take care of each other. Thank you. Joe, Kelsey, myself, we're all here for you. Reach out and we'll get through this. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.